prizes for volunteers? All right, so
Let's try.
Oh my God.
okay. Oh, but I think Philip already volunteered. Wait. Oh no, I'm sorry. Philip is taking notes. Sam is doing Jabber.
The reason I said notes is that I'm not got my Java client up yet. It would be rash.
Gotcha. No, it'd be very effective if you. All right. I will have more fidget spinners in other working groups. So if you want to light up fidget spinner, volunteer. All right, here are the blue sheets.
So in case it's the first time you read the note well, read them well. And so let's start. So today we will have a brief session. So we'll see the document status. We would like to discuss the current draft, so just to see the impression of the room, and then finally stay where we are and where we want to go with the Curdle working group. Do you want to go on with the status?
Yeah.
Okay. So, currently, in CMS, we had 2 drafts that are sent to the IEG. Kerberos, we have 1 draft that is remaining. It is on working group last call. It's close to be sent to the IESG. PKX, we have 1 draft that still need to be sent. In SSH as well, we have 1 draft, the one we're just going to show next before we're done with the current draft in the queue. And we have 1 other draft, which is requesting adoption. In SSH, I forgot that 1 draft is being revived and submitted soon. So, we've done a pretty good job, I think, since last IETF. And, we should go on until we close the working group. So the draft we would like to have a look at is the recommendation on SSH key exchange. So I don't know if you look at the table here, if this recommendation fits everyone's, and if not, you please to raise some comments, or even better, to raise your comments on the mailing list, because we're waiting for comments to send this draft to the ISG.
Quỳnh Đan, I think the should minus for the Diffie-Hellman curve to 56. I think until when we have the 25519 is widely used and deployed everywhere, then at that time it should be fine to make it a should minus. But right now, I think it should stay at a should.
Okay. A should. So for the NIST 256.
Yeah, it should be a should, not should minus.
Okay.
Yeah. But, in the future, when 25519 is widely used, then it would be okay to move it down a little bit below should. But for now, should is good. Not should minus.
Okay, good. And I think Eric.
Yeah, I guess I was also a little puzzled by the allocations of the NIST curves, in particular, why people are happier with P384 than P256. I mean, I think it'd be fine to say that our policy is that we think people don't love the NIST curves that much and we want to move to the IETF curves. And I think it'd be fine to say that we love the NIST curves and we're staying with them. But I'm not aware of any reason why you would favor P384 or P256. If that's basically some SSH community thing, then I guess that's fine, but it's not justifiable, I think, on technical grounds at this moment. But again, I mean, I'm happy to defer to the consensus of the community if the consensus of the community is that's what they want to do. But I read the document. I didn't think it made any very strong arguments why that should be the case. So if it's the case that this is what the community loves, then then if that is true, which I have no idea if it's true, the document should say for idiosyncratic reasons the community loves this and therefore we're recommending it.
Hi, sorry, I took my name tag off. I'm Deb Cooley from NSA. So both in this draft and his Diffie-Hellman draft, he references our CNSA guidance, which is why he should minusing P256, which I don't care about one way or the other. You make it should minus, not neither here nor there. In the Diffie-Hellman draft, he adds groups 15, 16, and 17. And here he only has groups 14 and 16. Which seems a little, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, good. And if he was going to add 15, I would say you would use SHA-384, which he also does not do in his Diffie-Hellman draft. In his Diffie-Hellman draft, he uses all of those groups, 15, 16, 17, with SHA-512. So I'm happy to see that he's got ECDH P384 here with SHA-384. But I don't understand the Diffie-Hellman group thing.
Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah. So Martin Thompson, I'm speculating here, but it may just be that these are the ones that have the musts and the shoulds attached to them, and the other ones merely exist.
Oh, do they?
That'd
be my guess. I mean, you'd have to ask.
Yeah, I was going to.
So I guess, I mean, it would be useful, I think, to perhaps start with some overall premises of what we're trying to achieve, and what our strategy is. I mean, to be honest, I found the CNSA guidance a little surprising. The sort of deprecating 256, I found not P256, not P, but SHA. So we went back and forth from this in the mailing list, as people recall, in that my understanding of the setting in which people are concerned about SHA-256 is collisions via Grover's algorithm, not used as a key derivation function, which as far as I know, it's fine, even with Grover's algorithm. In any case, I think, to my knowledge, this sort of implementation and side channel and such properties of P256 and P284 and SHA-256 and SHA-384 are roughly equivalent, and that the questions about quantum computers and so to that extent, I think it'd be good to sort of say and I hate to shove this on Curdle, but you are kind of the curve people now. It would be good if we sort of said the IETF theory on QC is that a minimum elliptic curve size of blah and a minimum discrete finite field size of blah, and that's the basis on which we're making these sorts of musts. And then we could just collapse that, and then we can convolve that, I suppose, with are we happier about NIST versus IRTF curves, and then we can come out with a consistent set of guidelines that at least make some sense. And make the problem easier in general. Like I say, Rich pointed out to me in an email that it may be the case that some working groups are in favor of the newer stuff and some in favor of the other stuff, which I think is fine. But we should probably have one theory about what quantum computers will and will not do.
So I was not, sorry, I'm too short. I was not arguing about whether you include P256 or SHA-256, whatever, do what you want there, right? My only observation was the fact that the Diffie-Hellman groups here are different than the Diffie-Hellman draft. Can you? Oh, sweet.
So this is actually following the same thing that we did in IPsec. So all the groups it only lists things that are must or shoulds or must not or should nots. All the May algorithms are ignored because there is tons of those. Oh, so it actually says there in there everything that is not mentioned explicitly may be implemented.
Just responding to Ekka's point, yes,
Phil Baker. So I agree that we have to have a common common consensus on what to do for quantum crypto, but I think that that's something that we should kick to the IETF.
Well, post-quantum crypto is it in scope of what we're doing?
No.
So that's definitely part of the IETF. No.
So I guess I'd assumed, so then this guidance is premised on the notion that you want to move to somewhat more quantum safe algorithms, but I suppose not complete quantum safe algorithms in some worlds, I understand it. And that's the rationale for the higher sizes of the keys. That we can correct me if I'm wrong on this. As I said, I mean, when we did X2509, X448, I mean, I think people generally felt like absent quantum computers, 256 bits was like plenty strong.
But you meant us.
I meant NSA, yes.
You meant us.
I meant NSA, yes. Sorry. Oh yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. I mean, I guess so. So I mean, I do think we need to have a consensus for our policy purposes on whether we think 256 bits is strong enough for the indefinite future. And if we don't think that, then I'd like to understand why. And if we do think that, then as I say, generally this assignment makes no sense unless you have some idiosyncratic reason from the SSH community.
So Martin Thompson, you said indefinite. Just for now, we'll do.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, because we have strong suspicions that 256 won't work.
Sorry, I mean, what I mean to say is that we are currently designing protocols with 256 in other parts of the IETF, and not saying we plan to swap them out like anytime soon. And so, if there's a theory that we're going to swap them out anytime soon, that would be like then we should know that, because like versus like, I mean, this is especially relevant like for TLS, which is anticipatory.
Timo, go ahead.
I have actually a completely different topic or actually saying on here is one of the things I don't like about this list is that we actually go from must algorithm to must not, which is the group one SHA-1, which is in IPsec for the same settings we actually move from must to should not, just to keep because I mean it's implemented every single implementation out there. And to make those implementations to be, violating must not because they still continue implementing it and because it's a backward, it was the default setting. So I think it's actually a bad idea to go from must to must not. So, but it's of course, something that we can decide here, but I think it would be better to go to should not like we do in IPsec. Should be giving us enough, rope for people to say that should not use it. And actually, it could be must not use, but you can still implement it.
So, is there anyone who feels strongly that we should just coalesce, I'll use that non-IETF term, around P256? And
So I think Ecker's point was that he didn't want, I don't know, I'm putting words in Ecker's mouth at this point.
Somebody has
SHA-2-ness, well, he didn't want the ECDH 256 made a should not, right? So Quinn made the same point, right?
Yeah.
So don't make that a should not.
right.
Because from your point of view, it's not on the way out. It may be on the way out from our point of view, but it's not on the way out from your point of view. So it shouldn't be a should minus. It should be at least a should. And it really probably ought to be more than that.
I mean, I guess like let me try to make my sort of structural point, and then I'll say what I think we should do. My structural point is I think we should have a common understanding of what curves we think are good and what curves we think are bad. And my understanding is that outside of this working group, the general consensus has been that we should favor P256 over P384, and that in general we should favor 256 over the next step up, which is 384 or 448, and that in some working groups we've had, for legacy reasons, we decided we prefer P256. So sorry, niche curves, and in some groups for modern reasons we decided for IETF curves. So what that would tell you, in that this table should say would either be that P256 should be a should and P384 should be like a may or a should minus or something like that, or that they should like, or conversely, if we want to have 2551, we want to have IRTF curves, that those should be the ones with the pluses on them, or the musts on them. But again, it should be X2509 and not X448. That's the claim I think I'm making.
So 448's not in here at all.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
That's also odd, by the way.
Which is a lot, which is because of the name.
Is that why? Because it's a May?
But again,
So, yeah, Martin Thompson, I think the point here is that if we're saying that the 256-bit sizes are fine and we should be using those, then we should be making the statement that the 256-bit things are fine, and we should simply choose between the IETF ones and the NIST ones as circumstances dictate. So if we have an installed base that's relying on NIST, then we might favour the NIST ones over the IETF ones, and vice versa.
So in this case, what I think you should do, given what is just swap the plus and minus on P256 and P384.
All right, so I'm going to cut the,
Can you
Go.
just get rid of the pluses and minuses? Because it makes them, I don't know. So my opinion, maybe without my badge on, right, is that you should have curve 25519 and 448, either as shoulds or whatever, right? And then you have the NIST curves, the 256 curve and 384 curve as shoulds, and just leave them like that, without the pluses and minuses.
yeah, I think the intent, obviously the plus and minus was to give finer level of detail.
Well, it's
for
to
sure
show, no, it's to show which one's on the way out, right? It's to
Yeah.
what's on the way out and what's on the way in, not more or less, right?
Yeah.
Tira will tell
So
us.
we got to cut the line because we have actually a more important discussion, I think, as in like what we do next for the next 3 minutes. So you want to move ahead? Let's take it to the list. I think we're basically all in agreement as to what the philosophy of what we want is. Let's just,
Yeah, the pluses, people are asking about pluses and minuses is really what is going to be, what we think is going to be happening. We currently has been guessing wrong all of the time in IPsec end. So it's actually was nice idea in the beginning. I'm not sure if actually it's very useful anymore because I mean we seem to be very bad at guessing.
okay, so we'll confirm that on the list, but yeah, we'll get rid of the pluses and minuses. We'll coalesce around 256, 448, 255, 19. Okay, so that's the action item the chairs have. Confirm on the list that that's the direction. We'll get rid of the trying to guess the future. In the 3 minutes we have left. Next slide.
Okay, do you want to go? Please. So now the question is, where are we regarding the charters? So I built up a table just to figure out, well, we had many objectives. One was to introduce the new curves, SHA and ES, where it was not already done. And the other thing is, well, to update and deprecate some of the algorithms. So in SSH, well, up to what I know, I don't think SHA or AES CCM, or was it GCM? Well, one of those is probably missing. So I don't know if there are any people willing to fill these gaps. For the other, well, XML, JSON, which was mentioned in the charter, they were not so much active in this working group. So should we run after them or not? Or are there any people that think it's important to have those work done, or is this work done elsewhere?
So wouldn't, for Kerberos, if you were interested in doing Cha-Cha or AES, wouldn't you do that in Kitten?
Maybe.
Because Kitten's an active working group? Ish, I mean, as active as Kitten ever is.
Right. So the Kerberos RC4 die came here by the Kitten chair. So
Oh, really?
yeah, Kitten should probably just be run over and closed.
So I think.
Drowned,
so-
drowned.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So I think the AES ink type is, one of the ink types has been approved in Kitten, so the draft should follow from that. I don't know. I'm not a Kerberos person, so I don't understand this whole ink type thing.
Yeah, I haven't done deep search on what is going down in Keaton as well.
So Martin Thompson, I had a point on the Jose line. We have some interest in updating web crypto for ED25519 and X25519. So we want to do the ECDHES stuff for that. You don't have a box for 25519 on the Jose side of things, but I need to talk to Matt Miller about that, but he might be doing some work there.
I didn't get where it is missing.
You did not mention, and I don't think anyone has mentioned in the past, adding X25519 and 448 to the Jose algorithms, but there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do that.
Do you mean explicitly the key exchange part or the signature part?
The key exchange part. So Jose has this ECDHES thing that
right.
some people are ragging on, but it's still a thing, right?
Yeah, well, okay. And when you meant, also clarifying, when you said web crypto, did you mean like the web crypto, like Jose, or did you mean like the old W3C web crypto?
So the W3C web crypto is, it actually kind of goes hand in hand, and you want to make sure you synchronize identifiers and usages and things like that, because you need to have the Jose parts to do the web crypto parts properly, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But this, at least we've discussed it this week, doing that, and so if the working group's going to remain alive, this is a great venue for doing that sort of work. So just giving you the heads up.
Thanks.
Okay, so just to clarify, it is not being done in Jose or Cibor, and it would be good if we do it here. Is that your, yeah?
Where is Jim Shad?
Yeah.
So about Chapter 20 for SSH, it already exists in OpenSSH, and there was a draft by, I think, Simon Josephson about a year ago, so this is a real starting point.
Yeah, so anyone willing to continue that draft?
Yeah, standard track RFC, better than fidget spinners, more useful. So is anyone interested in picking up the gaps on any of this stuff? Okay.
So Leif Johansson, the XML line is conspicuously empty. I actually think that there's going to be stuff done in the EU around XML, but I don't know where, and I have no idea how we communicate with those guys. But I think it's probably a good idea to try to figure out who to talk to.
Yeah, we've spoken a couple of times to W3C people, and there is like, well, the working group is moribund, and if you want to start something up, we'll rubber stamp it, but we're not really going to wake that sleeping dog right now.
I may be able to do something on the JSON stuff, in that I already have running code, the issue being that the running code I have doesn't necessarily comply with the Jose world, in that I'll have to audit it and check.
Yeah.
I may have diverged further.
All right. We are over time, and it's coming into lunch, so we'll ask on the list again. We'll ask on the list for more interest. We're not going to try to create documents where there's nobody willing to write them initially. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone not signed the blue sheets? All right, go eat. Freedom of choice. Go drink. It's Prague. Yeah. Wendy Seltzer would be the person to start with. And
But I don't think the has enough. I mean, the drivers for any.
Stephen, stand up, come here.
XML, XML.
Oh, okay.
The EI does.
Mm.
Those are people who are gonna deploy that stuff, right?